Wait a second. Wait, I just looked at the other tweet of the nest. Is that a real graphic that they produce with all the red and the, or is that somebody's Photoshop? Blood on their hand. Like this looks really, yeah. They're kind of overdoing it. I don't think he has blood on his hands. Oh yeah, there was an article. I think there was some maybe Finnish article I saw like maybe a year ago, 6 months ago, that said that he got in a fight with somebody. Which is kind of strange. We kind of discounted it because it sounded
A minor,
a bit
apparently.
silly. So what do you think? He punched a minor or something?
That's the accusation. That like, oh, he assaulted a 16-year-old. They didn't specify male or female, but yeah.
Okay. That doesn't sound as bad as I think your mind wanders when you hear the word assault. You don't know.
You can't do anything when you're a billionaire. Somebody's going to sue you. Look at Donald Trump. He can't go a day without getting lawsuit.
Yeah, they're just flying at him, right?
Can't wait for highest of stakes to ask for a fundraiser now for part 2.
If they do make one, it's going to be really drama filled. I mean, spicy topics to kind of explore.
But this thing with Richard seems to be more important. You figure a couple people will get fudded.
It's working. It's working.
As for the purpose of avoiding taxes, Schuler failed to observe a statutory duty pertaining to taxation that is of significance in the assessment of tax. Schuler failed to file business tax returns for the tax multiple years and also failed to complete information on his income on his pre-filed personal tax returns. Schuler received income from his business or income-generating activities that he should have declared to the tax administration for the purposes of tax assessment. The total amount of tax avoided is counted in hundreds of millions of euros. I wish that you didn't use that word avoided, because avoided could be a acceptable term in taxes.
Yeah, avoidance versus evasion, right? Evasion is illegal. Avoidance is illegal, right?
Exactly.
I mean, this is pretty much old news. It's been up for a long time. So, I don't know. According to Richard's tweet, he says he's never been safer. So, I'm assuming he's probably going to wrap up the SEC thing pretty soon. And then maybe there's some European thing you have to deal with after that, which, I mean, hey, if you sold the Bitcoin top, it might be a lot of money. I don't know. So, you might have to square some of that up, maybe. But I mean, all of this doesn't really affect too much about Pulsechain.
I cleared my cache and I just wanted to do the search again, and it's not showing up. When I just search Richard on that link, the name pops up. I click the name and there is no search results. Are you guys getting the same thing as me? I cleared my cache. I tried on Safari and Chrome. Just the link on the most wanted site. His name is.
It'd be hilarious if it's fake.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. It looks like
listen, Photoshop is amazing these days.
Saying it's old news, right? I thought I seen something like that a long time ago too. Am I tripping or?
Yeah, this popped up a long time ago, but
yeah, I think Leo mentioned it like 2 or 3 months ago.
It didn't pop up that we knew of on this particular website, but the charges it was like Finland was basically saying these same things. So now it's on a new website. But apparently Richard Hart probably knew about this quite a long time ago.
Yeah, that tweet he sent out is very bullish for me. I think lots of good things coming very soon, honestly.
What happened last time? As soon as he released that his lawyers were fighting the SEC, we saw massive buy pressure into Pulsechain, and this almost seems like a similar event almost 1 year later. So I imagine in January something really good could happen for our ecosystem. January 5th, 6th. I mean, there's going to come a point when the whole Donald Trump signing pumping oil in America in the January 2020 or January 20th or whenever he's going to sign it, because this whole inflation thing.
Yeah, based on my perception of how Richard operates, I'm pretty sure he crossed the T's and dotted the I's on tax obligations and stuff. Maybe they don't know about unrealized gains and stuff like that, and they're trying to make some case, but I think Richard is pretty careful about following laws and stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is blown out of proportion.
Or maybe it's a coordinated effort between the SEC and trying to get the EU to try to do something as well, because they know that they're gonna get their asses beat.
Yeah, they're fishing again, basically, because they're desperate.
The plan B. Yeah.
Say that those guys are buying. That's where they're gatekeeping us. It's like all their big players are like, yeah, bro, keep them down, Gensler. Like, I'm buying this hex. I mean, eventually it'll happen if we're understanding what type of products they're looking for. It's just they don't know they need us. It's kind of odd how it's working, where we have the right product. We have guys like even Sailor talking about what t-shirts do, and then him saying, like, I don't know if you guys noticed that maybe like a month and a half ago when he got a little bit of beef with him and some of the Maxis, Kaiser, but it was like a few of the Maxis. And yeah, the way he was describing it, I mean, I was like, yeah, man, this guy's talking about t-shirts.
The EHEX hex ratio is like 3-to-1 right now. So apparently, EHEX dumped a bunch, but not as hard. I guess 25% less hard.
Interesting.
Yeah, so like I think that there's going to be my opinion is, and it's just like guesswork. There's always been some kind of sacrifice as long as Richard has been around, as long as he's made content. You know, there was the idea of the AA and the original original like hex launch. There's the concept of staking or risking your reputation to put out referral links. People put, like Pirate Bay and all these others, they still had a reputation that was staked in this launch of this new cryptocurrency. So there's always going to be some kind of staking mechanism, and DAI has that. It's just we haven't really paid attention to the idea of a stablecoin launching when there's perceived no value originating. So it's always been a stable has been linked to a bank account in Poland, a bank account that Brock Pierce or whatever can control, and USDC or Circle or whoever's backing it as far as a financial account, a bank fiat account. And then we've had the launch of these other stable concepts that DAI is the best representative of, but still Ethereum had value. So the idea of it pegging for the mind's leap to say it's worth something or will be worth something was related to the Lindy effect of Ethereum having history of being worth something. So like these things are interesting, just like, and again, I don't want to get too religious about it, but like everybody looks for a sign, everybody looks for like an indication, who's behind it, like, to prove whatever their faith may be in anything. And this is just another narrative like it.
Yeah, good points there. KR, what's your current opinion, man? Do you think it's going to get front run for that $1 mark, or
I think it's all speculations with everything. Hex, pdai, Pulsex, Inc. Everything speculations, and we play on these speculations. The only thing I do know is we're in a bull market, right? That's the one thing I do know, that we're in a bull market, and I know good things happen in the bull market. That's one thing I do know for a fact, right? But my whole thing, right, I was going to say to Gary's point, like, it's not good that there's Maxis on that side, Maxis on this side. In my personal opinion, right, I'll play the devil's advocate here. I believe it is good. I believe it's good that you have yin and yang. So you have Maxis on one side and you have Maxis on the other side. One side believes in this more than the other side believes in that, because, and then from the outside world, it looks like, I feel like it brings more engagement, like even though people are tweets and people are having their little Twitter beefs and in regards to pdai and hex, I think it's good in general for Pulsechain. It brings more eyes. We've seen more people talking about Pulsechain outside of Pulsechain, I believe. And I think it's all good. I mean, I hold all. So I don't really care. But, I mean, I'm more of a PWBTC maxi, if anything, if you want to put me in a position, because I just believe PWBTC will bring more adoption than both of them. But yeah, that's just my personal opinion. But yeah.
Okay, to that point then, why is PWBTC potentially better in terms of adoption than...
Because what is the main coin in crypto, bro? What's the main coin in crypto that people heard about to get into crypto? What's the daddy of the daddies?
Yeah, of course it's Bitcoin, but I guess a lot of people would argue that it's almost taken up a role, if you were to compare it to the kind of main coins, that pdai is almost like the Bitcoin, and then PWBTC is like the Ethereum. In this particular, I guess we call it P ecosystem or copied ecosystem.
I don't know, bro. Is 20 million pdai paired to the real Bitcoin? Wrap Bitcoin, sorry. I don't think so, but I do think that there's 20 million real wrap Bitcoin compared to PWBTC on chain. So I think it goes from there, right? Like, you know, I still believe that PWBTC. What was the first farm that come out when Richard Hart introduced P copy farms, or you know, what was the first one or the only one that come out? It was Wrap Bitcoin and PWBTC. It wasn't pdai from what I remember. I'm not saying that Richard Hart didn't mention pdai. I believe pdai will go to $1 with or without Richard Hart, right? With in regards to staying, it's a speculation. I can't answer that one. But then I've also seen Richard Hart go into way more detail in regards to pulse wrap Bitcoin than he ever did with pdai in his tweets. But yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Gary, I see your hand up. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I was kind of agreeing with what he was saying originally on his first parts of his statement, which was I'm not saying that people shouldn't have their passion and their religion and, you know, their favorite and their maxi in a city or in a nation. I do believe people should be able to choose the faith or their speculative instrument or their partner or whatever it is. You know, like I'm a freedom maximalist or libertarian in that way, I'm sure. But when it goes to the conflict of bloodshed in the streets, I definitely stay away from that element of it. And it goes to this, and you know, the culture of internet, the culture of financial, you know, prowess and or whatever. So like in general, I agree with what he was saying, that, you know, choose, and that's fine. I tend to salt a lot of projects. Like I've given away over the past couple of, you know, maybe 5 or 6 years, I've probably given away like $50,000 or $60,000 just in like super chats. But what does that get me? You know, it doesn't give me anything as an ROI. But like this is a narrative, and it's an interesting pastime. It can be you know, considered a speculative instrument to change your future of your family and things like that. Those are all nice dream building kinds of things around cryptocurrency. But like, why is it here? I saw that Roger Ver did the stream with Tucker Carlson just yesterday, I believe. And he's definitely a linchpin in why any of these things have value. I think he was buying Bitcoin at $1 at the time. And I think he sold his Lamborghini in order to buy Bitcoin versus like the dream of a lot of people to, oh, I'm going to make it my riches in crypto and buy a Lamborghini or something. It's like he's been the reverse. And it's mostly been because of his libertarian values and things that he stands for in those ways. So I like that. But then also on my timeline, I see a lot of repeat from quote unquote Bitcoin maximalists that don't like the history of the block size and things like that, wars back in 2018. So they say, oh, Roger is bad and Roger is evil, without even understanding what it is that they buy that's called Bitcoin, because they keep it on a central exchange. They keep it on Coinbase. They buy it as part of like an entrance ticket to the now popular club of Bitcoin is $100,000. So like your belief is one thing versus your ROI and why you're in this stuff. So like out of the ROI potential, I think that both have very high potential to reach whatever you want to peg as a price. Hex people want 55 cents or above. They want to go above their previous all-time high. That's still a landmark. That's still a peg. It's still an achievement. That's a certain goal for hexagons. And then they may go beyond that and say, oh, look, it can go $2 or $3 or $55 or whatever the number may be. These are still, in the grand scheme of things, the same energy, the same want, the same marketing, the same effort of bringing in 10 times as many people to participate in the ecosystem as are currently here. It all requires the same amount of work. So like I think Richard is really great about marketing, and having two teams competing is a good thing in general. Now he can come out with a tweet and kill off his favorite son or favorite daughter in this analogy. He's done that as far as price. But then you also see that the price recovered on eHex to where it sits now, which is above the kill shot tweet that he put out, basically a year ago. So like price is not the same thing as like, why are you buying this? If you believe it's going to be some kind of dollar landmark, for this crypto cycle, and you're going to get out and get your riches, you're going to put that somewhere. You're going to put it into a house or a car or your kid going to school or whatever you're going to spend it on. And then you're probably going to come back to this game in 3 or 4 years and say, oh, what's the price now? So like breaking it up and making the smaller amounts and all these other kinds of stuff. So there's been like a lot of movement that's been attributed to Richard in the past. I think someone said somewhere around 8,000 BTC was moving, and basically a concentration of around 55 to 60% of the BTC is attributed to Richard or holdings. So like what's out there from the launch, the fork date, goes to like what pools could there be, and one of the big resistance that Hexicans basically fought with Richard and never won because we were stupid anyway, was the idea of Hex needed to be on a central exchange in order to have value, in order to be basically on the ranking sites back in the early days. And it was basically a frustration with the price and wanting the price to go up from this pump of new retail being able to buy the token that we're promoting and all these other kinds of things. And the huge resistance, of course, was not paying influencers. So, we would solicit or get Ivan on Tech and say, hey, we'd love to talk about Hex or whatever. But, there was a cost that would have to be borne by the community that Richard never would pay. So our effort would be like stymied, even if we were going to raise funds to like make a program on a big channel. It was counter to the culture. And another big counter to the culture was back in 2018 and 19 was, paying Binance or KuCoin or Coinbase or whatever, a couple $1 million just in a listing fee, plus a certain percentage, often 10% or more of the supply of a coin in order to be listed so that they could be market makers if it became popular and they could earn fees for free. Or if it wasn't becoming popular, if marketing of any coin or project was starting to stall out, they would just dump down the token that they held before anybody else that was part of a community could actually benefit from it. So Richard was always against that kind of centralization on a central exchange. And it's interesting that wrapped BTC already is held mostly by central exchanges. That's where it was existing. It wasn't really in many, like if you're a Bitcoin maximalist, you mostly held Bitcoin. You weren't playing in DeFi because the Cyber Hornet culture said that Ethereum is a shitcoin, and DeFi is counter to the narrative of proof of work and all these other kinds of things that were going on with Bitcoin narratives. So like who was holding the wrapped BTC in their own wallet that wasn't on a central exchange? Not that many. Who was holding DAI at the, again, at the launch of the Pulsechain itself? What was that, like May of 2023? You can look and see what that supply was. I think someone had said it earlier, like 140,000, 150,000 in wrapped BTC, and then something like, I don't know how many billions of DAI exist. But like all I'm getting at is that could be considered listing cost with a central exchange, because it's not the central, even though the central exchange has that concentration, it might be in the wallets of their clients more than their own personal wallets or their own business wallets. You know what I'm saying? So like the DAI and the wrapped BTC may be in one, like one particular user's subset address. Doesn't mean that they have access to it. It just means that they don't support that particular chain. And so it may go to those issues like how when Bitcoin Cash split off and forked from Bitcoin, many other forks before that were not supported, and those coins were either dead forever or just never going to be used or made popular because the customers themselves didn't benefit from access to those forks because they were on addresses that were at the central exchange. This could be a mechanism to effectively have central exchanges like Binance on the side of Pulsechain without having to pay a listing fee and without having to have the narrative that central exchanges are benefiting versus their clients. So there's a lot more to this than just our little ecosystem looking at a couple of tickers on a DEX listing.
Just to that point about centralized exchanges would probably be more welcoming or adopting. I'm just going to play devil's advocate here. Why would they choose something like pdai over, say, for example, Pulsex Inc? Those tickers. Okay, maybe they don't like Hex, and obviously we know that Hex has been gatekept for a long period of time. But why choose that over the layer one?
So how did they get Pulsex, or how do they get Pulsex or Hex? How does Binance get that? Do they buy it?
They would have to buy it. Yeah. He's basically just trying to say money game that they
already have it
to buy. They already have it basically.
Right.
So with Hex and with like all these other cores,
yeah,
need to get paid for the listing. But with pdai or wrap Bitcoin, they wouldn't technically have to pay as they already got it in their wallets.
But then, you know,
their clients already have it in their wallets, and their clients can already exchange it for whatever the perceived value is of it at the time.
but
They could actually
again,
be buying ADA or any other thing. They could buy meme tokens on their exchange with effectively the free money that the client receives, and that's like a win-win-win situation.
But again, playing devil's advocate here, you could say the same about, for example, when ETH got forked, right? And there was ETH Fair and there was ETH W, right? And you know, I don't see them being used that much now, or even talked about by those centralized exchanges.
So like there's all this history, but still like the heads of state, the diplomacy, the advocates for Ethereum name brand is what's represented on most of these central exchanges. And because Pulsechain launched after that merge, you know, a month or 2 months or whatever it was after that, I mean, however long it was after that merge, that was great. Like that's a great litmus test that the merge and Ethereum didn't fail and it didn't break, and then you know those kinks, those minor things that may have been tweaked were addressed before the fork of the code became effectively what Pulsechain is. So like there's a lot of reasons that central exchanges, I think from a Lindy effect position, would trust this fork versus the ETH Fair and ETH POW or whatever it was that launched with, you know, with miners and kind of just staying with ETH Classic narratives.
Yeah, all good points. Thanks for that, Gary. I see that we got a new person into the space. Have they connected? Let me just double check. No, they've come back down. Yeah, to your question, KR, you were saying about the supply dynamics. From what I can see, I believe that the wrapped DAI is around about 23 billion, and then 154,410 for the wrapped BTC, P-wrapped BTC, excuse me. Which a lot of people would be more bullish on that just based off supply dynamics and things of that nature. But we do know, I mean, there was a big whale that was dumping the other day, still has quite a bit.
Yeah, he's nearly out, bro. Every coin's got whales. There's whales in pdai that dump all the time as well, you know, like there's whales in everything. That's just giving opportunity to people to accumulate more on their bags, you know. We're gonna see the price go up to 2K. He's gonna send another 500 into a wallet. And then he's just gonna sell it all down. Back to like 1.3, 1.4, and then we'll see the dip get accumulated. And then once he's out, you know, I mean, I don't know if there's more whales who are going to be selling, but you know, once he's out, we'll see what happens. But the interesting thing is, what is he buying with that money? Because you know, we both know he's already attained over $3 million through just wrapped Bitcoin on its own. And what is he buying with that wrapped Bitcoin money? He's not buying pdai, or he's buying Hex actually and staking it. Buying the shit out of Hex and staking it.
Oh, just to put a disclaimer on that, this is from Luna C Point saying P Hex is a P copy, sir, which is quite ironic. And then this one here from Bisology: if pdai gets anywhere near $1, Richard Hart will pour that liquidity into P Hex. Hex is going to be the winner in the end. Interesting comment there. I'd like to get your opinions on that. KR, I'll throw it to you. What do you think? Do you think Richard's going to just dump it into P-Hex?
No, I do not think that. I'll answer that later.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Gary. Let's get you first, and then I'll throw it around the room.
I think that Richard wants respect. I think that he already has our respect. He already has our maximalist positions. If you make enough money off of pdai, you're going to respect Richard. If you make it off of Hex, if you make it off of PLS, Inc., doesn't matter what it is, any of the tickers that he's had his name on top of. And again, this is a big if, because I don't know, if pdai or wrap BTC are directly attributable to Richard's mechanisms and his actions, he's already inside of major exchanges. He's already there. He didn't have to pay any kind of fee to get there, and he actually has marketing potential to those clients and that client base, just like he marketed your referral codes that we self-generated and self-referred and did all the stuff for the AA back in the day with Hex. So like, it's not like this is a new game. This is him making a bigger pie, and the people that fight over a small pie and having their big piece of the existing small pie don't see a bigger picture. And I think a bigger picture is that this could supplant Ethereum. He's always had this in my mind, at least, in my opinion, this narcissistic, ego driven, I'm going to be great. And recognized as great. And, that day, if again, he's behind this stuff, he can say it and peg his hat on making many millionaires from Hex in more than one cycle. And if those are vaulted potential assets for this maker contract and pdai narrative, it's almost like getting pulling a hat trick. And it's like having, what is it called, a trifecta, that kind of thing. Like these are still supportive to grow the size of the people that are participating on this chain by already being inside of the major exchanges that hold pdai or hold DAI and hold and now have the fork, as well as wrap BTC and now have the fork.
Now, that's a good point that you just brought up. I actually wanted to speak on that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it Richard who said, was it a million millionaires that he wanted at some point? And if you were to dismiss any other products on the chain, like kind of by proxy, he would make those, if say, for example, the PE copies perform or other things on Pulsechain perform, that would be probably the easiest way to make that dream attainable, right? And obviously, you created that chain and that chain has created vast amounts of wealth from that. That is one of the arguments that a lot of people would say, hey, that could be the way that plays out. And like Richard, Richard's very, boastful and likes his glory. That would be an easier way to get that glory than, hey, the core coins made a million millionaires. I can't remember what the statement was. Was it a million millionaires or 1,000 millionaires? I can't remember off the top of my head.
In space, we have these effects of gravity. So like the moon is captured and it's in orbit. It hasn't collided into the Earth. It hasn't had escape velocity from the Earth, like it's captured. So like, how do you have the cheapest possible acquisition cost for any product or service that you sell? It's word of mouth, it's free advertising, it's getting your name in the news. Like it's the Trump kind of always occupy, what is it, I'm occupying your mind or whatever, these narratives, like I'm living rent free in your mind or something. So like these things have been going on for many years, and it's been disciples, evangelists, believers, whatever you want to call it, and however many of us, 5,000 or so that are active, something like that, and then how many hold tokens and just don't say anything. So like the only way they're going to have millionaires is by being bigger. And is that by promoting Hex? Sure, for some percentage, there's going to be some percentage of people that become millionaires because of Hex or P-Hex or that going a higher price point. But it's only going to be due to Hexicans and people that believe in Hex promoting Hex. And it's going to be the same thing when it goes to pdai or wrap BTC or whatever is popular next cycle on this chain. So we always have allegiance to the first thing that make us money. Like the first thing that make us money, you're like, oh, that's the way. Like if you made it in real estate, you're going to believe in real estate. You made it in Bitcoin, you're going to believe in Bitcoin. Certainly there's been enough people to believe in Bitcoin to have it go to $100,000. So like what you believe in, you are going to continue marketing. And you may have some percentage of your mind space in your marketing effort that you say, oh, I love this, but this is new. Why don't you add this because it has some synergy to your portfolio or something like that. Even every CFA says, they talk about their diversification strategy. Why do you think that you have the choice, the perceived choice? It's not really a choice about whether you're in bonds or stocks or anything else. Like these are just like different colors on that palette. You believe you have choice, and so it's the same thing. Like this is just a growth strategy, in my opinion.
Yeah, very good points.